Hello students, we're now going to have a go at solving question 2 in section or exercise 3.7. So let's read the question. On the 1st of January 1990 there were 300 wombats on a nature reserve. On the 1st of January 2014 the number of wombats declined to 200. The number of wombats N on the reserve T years after the 1st of January 1990 is predicted to decline according to this rule just here. So the first question is determine the exact values of A and B. So normally when you have two things you don't know, two unknowns, normally you need two equations, and that means you have to solve them simultaneously. And that's pretty much what we have to do here, but it turns out they've given us some nice numbers, so the simultaneous equations are quite easy to solve. So let's get started. So the first thing is basically January the 1st, 1990, that's when there were 300 wombats. So basically we're saying when t equals 0, at the start of all of this, n was 300. So the first thing we have to do is just substitute 0 in for t and 300 in for n. So if t is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, and n is equal to 300. Okay, so you may want to stop the video now and see if you can continue on your own. And if not, just keep on watching. So the first thing I'm going to do is do some simplifying. Okay, well, log to the base e of 1 is actually basically saying e raised to what power equals 1. All of that just simplifies to 0. And a times 0 is just 0. And 0 plus b is just b. So in this case, we got pretty lucky. That whole equation, we could actually find out that b was equal to 300. So you might want to stop there. Notice that you got some additional information on the 1st of January 2014, so 24 years later. The number of wombats is down to 200. So you might want to see if you can, and you also know what b is. So you might want to see if you can go ahead and get a second equation for this. So we know that when t is 24 years later, the numbers decline to 200 wombats. Put those numbers into the equation. And don't forget to put 300 in for b as well. And the 24 plus the 1 is 25. So we've got that equation. Once again, you may wish to stop that and see if you can now solve that for a. Otherwise, just keep watching. So what I did next is I subtracted 300 from both sides. That gets rid of that. 200 minus 300 is negative 100. Log to the base e of 25 is just a number. We just leave it like that. You could turn that into a decimal if you wanted to. So all I basically did now is I just put the log to the base. I divided both sides by log to the base e of 25. And I also decided to get the same answer as they had in the textbook. I ended up with this to start with, which is fine. But then I said, well, I can write 25 as 5 squared. And then I took that 2 out the front, which gives me this. So that answer is okay. I'll give that a tick. Okay, so you could leave it at any one of those formats. But if you want to match the answer in the back of the textbook, they've written it like that. The 2 goes into 150 times, so you end up with that. So that's your exact value for A, and that's your value for B. So that is part A done. Now I haven't actually done solutions for part B and C, so if you really want me to do those for you, just flick me an email and I can make a video out of those. But what I'd like you to do right now is to stop the video, read the question, how many wombats are predicted to be on the nature reserve on the 1st of January 2024, and see if you can use the information we've worked out there to answer that. So you can stop the video now, or I'm going to just give you a bit of a hint. And the hint is you now know what the value of t is. So you know what A is, You know what B is. You now know what T is. It's 34 years after 1990. Solve that for N. So that one's relatively straightforward now. Question C. During which year will the number of wombats drop below 180? Well, what I did for that one is I said I'm just going to find out during which year it equals 180, and then the year after that's when the number's going to go below 180. So if I end up with like 23.4, so make a different number up, say 16.7, then I'll say, well, after 17 years, and it'll work out what the year is for that. Anyhow, see if you can have a go at question C on your own. Let's get started on it. If not, here's what I did to get started. I basically said I know what A is, I know what T is, I know what B is. I know what N is, I know what A, B, and N are, and I can just use that information, plug it all into the equation, and solve for T. So give that a go on your own, please. Check your answer in the textbook. And that is the end of question 2.